Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is my wrap up for July, and as you can see, it was a good month. I did 24 puzzles. And here is a quick scroll through the puzzle tracker app. Most of the puzzles are not in the order in which I put them together, but they are all under the tag July 2024. And like I said, I was able to complete 24 puzzles. So, what I suggest you do if you want to enjoy this video is grab your tea or grab your coffee or your favorite cold beverage, because this video might be a little bit on the long side. So we will get started with Morning Kitchen, which is an Ibu puzzle. I love the Ibu brand. I've talked about it many, many times here on this channel. And the Morning Kitchen puzzle is part of a series of kitchen puzzles. There's Pink Kitchen, Green Kitchen, Blue Kitchen, Lavender Kitchen, Kitchen Chickens, and What's Cooking. And there's also the Alchemist Kitchen, which I don't have. So with me loving series, as soon as I saw this kitchen puzzle come up, I had to get it. I had to. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's one of my favorite type of puzzles these days. I mean, I can't even stick with a certain type of puzzle because I like this drawing, the way that this art is done. It's rough, it's not smooth, but it's just perfect in my opinion. So I then created a wheel with a bunch of 500-piece puzzles and used the Spin the Wheel app to choose which one was going to be next. And as you can see, it was Kodaps Corner, which was the second puzzle that I did in July. Even though I love collage puzzles and rainbow gradient puzzles and certain other types of puzzles, I love these hometown Americana type of puzzles, and that's exactly what we have here with this one. It was a very enjoyable puzzle to put together. The next puzzle that the wheel selected was another 500-piece puzzle, this time from Buffalo. And let me tell you, I bought this puzzle secondhand in a group of puzzles that came from the buy sell trade group that I use on Facebook. Now, she had a bunch of puzzles and she was doing a little bit of Tetris by trying to fit as many puzzles in the box that she could, and this was one of them. Now, when I first looked at it, I thought all these sunflowers, this puzzle was going to be a huge challenge. But then, once I started sorting the edge pieces, I noticed that there were several birds. 4, in fact, and a couple of butterflies. And then I realized, oh, this puzzle won't be as hard as I thought it would be, even though there were so many sunflowers. Of course, you also have the house with the truck, and that breaks up the puzzle a little bit more. Next on the puzzle wheel was a 500-piece puzzle that I got from my friend Hope. Every month or two, Hope packs me up a box of puzzles, and included in this box was this one here from Gallison. Now, it wasn't until I saw this puzzle that I realized, oops, there's another series that I just have to get. Aside from knowing that I would quickly become addicted to this series of puzzles, even though I will say that all the puzzle pieces are shaped the same. They're 2 in and 2 out, but there's a long side and there's a short side. Then you factor in that I like to do certain puzzles, especially gradient puzzles, in some sort of a pattern. So I quickly realized that left to right would work for this particular puzzle. Also, with this puzzle, because of my experience with gradient puzzles thus far, reds have always been the hardest colors for me, reds and oranges. So you'll notice that any gradients that I show you, I basically start with the hardest first, which is the red. And quite naturally, orange is right after that, and then I move on to my other colors. Also, I like to work the pattern, in this particular case, left to right, which quite naturally made this puzzle go really fast. I'm loving gradient style puzzles or rainbow style puzzles, and this marbles puzzle was a lot of fun to work on. Moving on to my next puzzle, which again was a gift from my friend Hope, was this gradient style rainbow flowers from Gallison, another 500 piece puzzle. Now, as you saw with marbles, I did a pattern by working on columns. Well, with this one here, I worked on rows. And again, red being always making me work a little harder, I started with the reds, but this, instead of going with reds and oranges, it kind of went with reds, then pinks, and then that deep, beautiful, vibrant purple, and so on. And I'm telling you, over the next however long I'm into working on these puzzles, I will always forever look for gradient puzzles. In fact, I think I'm finally ready to attack a 1,000 piece Cobble Hill rainbow gradient puzzle that I think would be a big challenge. But now that, as you'll see, I worked on so many of these, some in July, some in August, I think I'm ready to take on a bigger gradient challenge. But this was an enjoyable puzzle, and I thank my friend Hope for sending it to me. The next puzzle that came up on the wheel, and we're running out of wheel puzzles for the month of July, and you'll see why in a few moments, was this 500 piece buffalo puzzle called Farm Sale. This was one of the country life puzzles that I have. I believe the Sunflower Friends was also a country life puzzle. But I love this puzzle for more than one reason. Number one, it's a 500 piece puzzle, which is a break from the 1,000 piece puzzles that I work on. And hopefully in the near future, I'll be doing 1,500 pieces to 2,000 piece puzzles more frequently. So having these 500 piece puzzles is a lot of fun. Now, another reason that I enjoy a puzzle like this is because it has a lot of words in it. And when you have a lot of words or phrases in a puzzle, it makes it a lot easier to put together. This was a beautiful puzzle. I love the sky, the reds and the oranges and the pinks and the yellows. It's just a beautiful sunset, and it was just a great joy to put together. Nice and busy, but not hard at all. The last puzzle in this batch on the Spin the Wheel app, I didn't even have to spin because it was the last puzzle, and that is the Sewing Desk, a bits and pieces jigsaw puzzle. I don't have many bits and pieces jigsaw puzzles in my collection, maybe 4, maybe 5, very, very few. But in any event, I knew this puzzle wasn't going to be too hard to put together because it has just so many elements. And my brain works best with very, very busy puzzles. And as you're going to see in this video, in this clip, this puzzle was quite busy with the sewing machine and all the sewing paraphernalia. I know there's a better word for it, but with all the accoutrements that go along with sewing that were in this image. It was just a lot of fun to put together, and Bits and Pieces has very funky shape pieces, kind of like random cut, little diagonals, and difficult sometimes to ascertain which is an edge piece and which is an inside piece. But I did enjoy it, and I'm glad I got to do this one. I also want to mention that I found out that it's an Amy Stewart puzzle, if I'm not mistaken. Then I was able to get my timing just right for the Sweet Treats Instagram puzzle along with Sweet Satisfaction. This is a 1,000 piece masterpieces jigsaw puzzle. I had to think of the brand for a minute. It's called Easy Grip because it's the larger piece sizes, kind of like White Mountain has the larger 1,000 piece size. And since I'm working on a 2,000 piece puzzle board here, it was no worries putting it together. So when I knew I was going to be joining in on this particular puzzle along, I simply checked the iCollect app to see what puzzles I had that might fit this theme. And this was one of three, I believe, that I had picked out, but the puzzle along only went for 1 week, so I just had to see what I could get done in a week's time. I love this puzzle. Number one, it's because of how bright and vivid it is, reminding me of the rainbow gradient type of puzzles that I like, but also because of the nostalgia that falls within this type of puzzle because of some of the candy that I grew up eating, candy that's not even really available today as far as I know. Some of it is because sweets will probably always be around, but there were gumballs and there were jelly beans and the sugar sticks and the rock candy, and oh my goodness, just really fun candies. And I really enjoyed putting this puzzle together. I'm glad for the Sweet Treats puzzle along because it gave me the opportunity to pull this puzzle off of my shelf and to get it done for the event. Now, this puzzle was kind of a surprise pick to me, and I'll tell you why. I knew I had this puzzle in my collection, but it was way up high. And when I say way up high, I'm talking about maybe 6 or 7 feet high, almost to the ceiling. So I had to call my son, Aaron, in here and ask him to pull this puzzle down for me. And this one is called Funny Cities Paris. It's Sweet Paris, and as you can see, it's a vision of surrounded the Eiffel by Tower, and covered with all kinds of sweet goodies. Now, I bought this puzzle, I think, 2 years ago, and because of the oversized truffle boxes that these puzzles come in from this particular brand, I stuck it way up on the shelf, as I mentioned. So I didn't realize or even know that it was part of a series. So before I talk about the series, let's talk about the puzzle itself. So I asked my friend Hope to help me to choose my next puzzle, and she says, "Hey, with the Paris Olympics coming up, why don't you do this particular puzzle?" So, without worrying or thinking about what was contained within the puzzle, other than the fact that I knew it would fit the Sweet Treats puzzle along, it had the city of Paris as its backdrop. As you can see, the Eiffel Tower. But it's called Funny Cities Paris, and the reason why is because the city or the scene in the city is covered with all of these treats, even to the point that you have a gummy bear climbing the Eiffel Tower, or your clouds made of cotton candy, your swizzle sticks. Oh, just a bunch of fun stuff. I really enjoyed this puzzle, and even before I either got started with this puzzle or finished this puzzle, I went on a hunt for any other Funny Cities puzzles that were available. And I think when I did this particular video on this channel, I showed the back of the box. And if I did, you would have seen that there were a total of 6 Funny Cities puzzles. So I bought them all. Funny Cities New York, Funny Cities London, Venice, and a couple of others. And I just loved this puzzle, and I don't mind the huge boxes, although I haven't quite decided where I'm going to store them, but I am glad that I have them, and I really did enjoy putting this puzzle together. So then I moved on to the Circle of Colors collection that I have so far. I have 15 in my collection. I know that there are 18 so far. The two that I don't have, and that is by choice, are Mandela and astrology. Mushrooms I can't seem to get here in the United States without paying an exorbitant amount in shipping. But here is the Puzzle Tracker app just listing them in the list view as to what I have done that fit this category, which is Circle of Colors. So as we begin this part of the video, I am showing a slideshow of the first group of puzzles that I worked on that I did from the inside out. Now these are in no particular order, but I do want to mention that for a couple of these, pizza and I believe one other one, I did not draw the circle onto my puzzle board, so they look a little misshapen, but no worries, they were all there. And so I love when I do a round puzzle when I can work from the outside in. And sometimes I'll have the pieces that I know go to a certain area, but I'll save them so that when I take individual screenshots, they're showing from the outside in. And then after I do this batch here, and I just have a couple more, I think we're looking at ice cream here. Boy, was that one fun. And it wasn't really too complicated either because as you can see, I just worked the colors from the outside in. And then after I did ice cream, I believe I did candies. And again, I'm not showing you these in the order in which I put them together. It just happens that I am sorting them in this video so that you can see how I did these. And it's not just this Ravensburger Circle of Colors series that I work some puzzles from the outside in. I've done that with a couple of Ebu puzzles that are circular as well. And I just simply, I just love it. It's fun working with patterns and with a rhythm, and I enjoy doing that. And even with this busy one here, candies, you can see I was able to do it from the outside in. I loved it. And the candies I did a little bit differently. I took a lot of screenshots. I think I took maybe 40 or 50. And that's because there were so many different candies and they were in a really cool pattern. And I just wanted to see how it looked if I did them all individually. And then I believe the last one that I did that had this ability to go from the outside in is this one here. And this was rainbow cake. And this was a little bit more challenging because of the slices, but nonetheless I was able to get it done. And then I move on to, I'm showing you here, puzzles that were in the collection, but they weren't able to be done from the outside in, at least by me. But what I did is, as much as I could when it came to colors, I would work on certain sections. And that's what this part of the slideshow is showing you, how I did the reds and the oranges, the yellows, the greens, the blues, and then I left the purples for last. Now, animals was one of the first ones that I did, and so I didn't have any kind of pattern in mind, just getting my edges done, finding whatever pieces that I could find that would be able to be put together, and it was just a lot of fun. After a while, I realized that I could just barely try to do sections for the sake of the pictures, but as you can see, I kind of missed a little bit on that. My favorite one of all is this one here, fruits and vegetables. Candies was a really fun one. As I mentioned, I took a lot of screenshots, but this fruits and vegetables one, it was one of my earlier ones. It was really cool with the bright, vivid red or purple cabbage, I should say, and then the yellows and the reds and the pinks. This was just one of the most vibrant of these circle of colors puzzles, and boy did I enjoy putting it together. Here I'm showing you flowers. Now flowers was fun, and it, as you'll see soon, it kind of reminded me of tropical, but it was kind of in that rainbow type of image where if I collected pieces for certain colors like the blues, the greens, the yellows, and so forth, I would be able to put this puzzle together, and that's pretty much what I did, and that's what you're seeing here in this image. I just love this series, and I really, really hope that it continues, because if it does, I love to see which way I'm going to attack it. And then I moved on to Tropical, which I believe was my last one. And this was a puzzle that I ordered from Amazon US, but it came via Amazon Australia. And it was missing a piece, and it had an extra piece. And I found that to be really weird. And even more weird is someone mentioned in the comment section that she was missing that very same green piece that I am missing. So a missing piece and an extra piece, but I still loved it. I have 2 more days to decide if I'm going to send it back to Amazon for a full refund, but I haven't fully decided on that. And then here, this part of the video, I'm showing you these darker backgrounds. And I think I heard someone mention, it might have been Jigsaw Johnny, that this is Ravensburger's Black Circle of Puzzles series. So in this batch, as you see, like in insects, it has a very dark background. But it doesn't even matter because you just go with the color scheme and it goes together. Now, this is a darker background, but it's a darker blue background, not black. And again, I just was able to grab certain sections and started putting it together. And I try to keep my board as clean as possible, and at least my inside of my puzzle, until I get closer to solving it. This puzzle was made a little bit easier with those like white waves or whatever that white water was. Then we moved on to Dreams and another black background. And this one had some like kind of wavy lines of blue going through them. And that's what made this puzzle super easy to put together. And I love this one. And it's just a bunch of things that you can think of in whatever plane you're on in your mentality while you're trying to fall asleep, trying to get a good night's sleep. And so I had fun with this one. In fact, I saved the moon for last. Another dark background is seashells. This was a lot of fun, and I was able to just grab color sections as best as I could. And then as I did that, I looked at the rainbow, kind of a gradient color scheme, and with that color scheme, as you can see, I was able to quickly put this one together. It was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. And here, by means of an iOS photo album, here are the 24 puzzles that I was able to put together in July. Hopefully I'll be able to match that in August. And back over to the Puzzle Tracker app, I show this in list view, the 24 puzzles that I put together in July. Some of this is in order and then some of this is out of order. But they're beautiful puzzles. I really enjoyed it. I don't know where I got the energy to put together so many in a single month, but it was exciting. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that you have enjoyed watching this video. In fact, if you've made it to the end of this video, I want to really thank you. But I also ask you to possibly subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and hit that like button and leave me a comment. Doing those things will help the YouTube algorithm to point other people to this type of content that have an interest in puzzles like I do. Thank you for watching and have a pleasant day.